Welcome to episode 3 of my Scorestreak variant review series. If you missed my last episode on the UAV, you can find a link in the outro as well as in the description. In this episode, I'll be covering the counter UAV. So we'll start with the rare variant called the Roach. This one contains the Tenacity perk, which makes it stay active for a longer period of time, but has a lower health. And you can craft this one for 150 salvage. Now, as I did with the advanced UAV and the regular UAV, we need a baseline to compare all these variants with. So the standard counter UAV lasts for 30 seconds in duration, and it'll offer 10 assist points when your teammates record a kill while it's active. To destroy one, you'll need 1 Spartan rocket or 17 bullets from the Mauler Mammoth. And by the way, one of you guys left me a comment in my last video saying to test a more commonly used weapon when it comes to the bullet damage. I tried to do this with the NV4, but I found it way more difficult and I kept missing shots. The Mauler Mammoth shoots slow enough for me to never miss a shot, and it gives a great best case scenario since it's so strong. Now the standard counter UAV will also scramble the minimap. The cost for all this is 600 points. So now that we have the baseline, let's see how the Roach compares. First, the benefit. This variant lasts 5 seconds longer for a total duration of 35 seconds. The only downside you'll have is the bullet damage. It takes 4 less bullets to destroy due to its reduced health, for a total of 13. Everything else remains identical to the standard counter UAV. Considering most people will simply use a rocket launcher to take out this streak, you'll find that the reduced health is not much of a penalty at all, making this a great option due to those extra 5 seconds. Next up is the legendary variant called the Eclipse. This one contains the Shutdown perk, which makes it shut down your enemy's HUD but have a lower active lifetime, and you can craft this one for 300 salvage. Now let's take a look at just how much shorter its duration is. Based on my testing, it lasts 20.3 seconds. So right off the bat, this is a huge decrease to its time active. 10 seconds shorter duration is definitely noticeable. Everything else remains identical to the standard counter UAV except for the scrambling effect. Instead of taking out the enemy's minimap, the Eclipse actually removes your enemy's HUD, which is a unique trait in Infinite Warfare. Very similar to the system hack from Advanced Warfare, your enemy will receive a system-compromised flashing message at the bottom of their screen. And with this, everything gets removed. It's as if you were playing in the hardcore mode. There's no minimap, no ammo count, no Scorestreak display, nothing. So for those peeping toms who rely heavily on such information, this can be extremely crippling. However, the question remains, is this more effective than removing just the minimap, like all the other counter UAVs do? Personally, I'd say the minimap is far more important than any of the other indicators, but not knowing your ammo count or your Scorestreak status is certainly annoying. It's definitely a personal call here. Losing 10 seconds in duration is quite a big deal, but I'd say this variant is worth it. Now lastly, the epic variant called the Nova. This one contains the Blast perk, which will destroy all enemy equipment and Scorestreaks, but the cost is increased by a vast amount, and you can craft this one for 450 salvage. So before I cover exactly what this monstrosity does, let's compare the stats. Everything is identical to the standard counter UAV except, as mentioned, the EMP effect and the points to earn. The points to earn are nearly doubled, and it'll now cost 1,150 points. That's an increase of 550, or 6 kills in a regular TDM match. So the question here is, how strong is the EMP effect, and is it worth such a substantial increase in points? Now to answer those questions, we need to examine its many capabilities. So this is what it looks like when an enemy calls in the Nova. You'll notice that the minimap still scrambles, and in addition, you'll also notice a Super Saiyan static effect shortly after it's called in. It's this blue shock that actually makes this ability more or less an EMP from prior Call of Duty games. This shock effect actually does 3 things. First, it'll slow everyone on the map down for just a brief second. You can see here a good example of this effect. It stops me mid-run for just a second, so nothing too devastating here. More importantly, it destroys all Scorestreaks that are currently deployed. Watch here as this Thor is active and in the sky. Upon calling in the Nova, the blue static effect kicks in and instantly annihilates it. You'll notice that this variant has to essentially charge up before it strikes. I timed this out, and from the moment you call it in until the charge strikes is exactly 3.5 seconds. So definitely take note that this EMP effect is not instantaneous. This can be seen as a drawback, as you won't be able to catch some of the faster score streaks in time, such as the Scorchers or an already placed bombardment. The last thing the blue static does is destroy enemy equipment. For example, watch here as a dome shield is deployed as well as an exploding drone. You'll see both get destroyed when the blue shock hits, even going so far as destroying the exploding drone in mid-stride. It should be noted that this effect can and will kill anyone camping their dick off nearby deployed equipment, such as a trip mine or C4. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing a newbie booby succumb to his own worm squirm trap. If you want to be real creative, you can maximize the effectiveness of this EMP by playing game modes that cater to it. For example, the Mayhem mode. In this mode, score streak progress does not reset upon death, and things tend to turn to chaos about mid-match. This is when you may find several of the harder to earn score streaks deployed all at once. So if you think tactically here, you can take advantage of this. Watch here as I activate combat focus and then call in the Nova, all while several streaks are deployed. This instantly grants me a whopping 1,150 points, rewarding me with all my streaks, including another Nova. Now while this may appear a bit overpowered, consider the everyday scenario. How often do you see someone get a high-tiered streak? You may see a Warden here or there, or someone get lucky in a drone package, but you're not going to see a mass array of high-tiered streaks every game. And don't forget about that drastically increased score cost. Earning this Nova will prove far too difficult for the common player to even dream of. And that, as they say, is that. You can't go wrong with this set of 3 counter UAV variants. They all greatly surpass their standard counterpart. So whether you want that extra duration from the Roach, the system hack effect from the Eclipse, or the Super Saiyan-like EMP bomb from the Nova, the choice is ultimately yours. One thing's for sure though, don't masquerade with the guy in shades. The counter UAV wears its sunglasses at night.